I'd like to welcome Donald and Jack. So Donald Turner and Jack Haight have been working together for over 25 years, using the medicine wheel as a healing map for many peoples across Canada, including people living with HIV and other STBBIs, or people who use substances. Donald and Jack studied traditional Aboriginal healing methods in school, and Donald has worked with CAN, OHAS, and Elder Seven Generations Indigenous Friendship Cultural Center. And so with that, I'd really like to welcome the two of you, and I'm looking forward to what you have to share with us. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Okay. Don Turner here. Jack and I have been working on this, and thanks for the intro. And I want to thank the organizing team for the hard work that they put forward for this can be possible. So what we'd like to do, is I can talk about myself more, but what I like to do is get into the part of the framing of defining wellness as we see it within our community, what has worked, which we have done this a number of times, both out in the West Coast and out in the East Coast. So anyways, to get started, what we'd like to do is switch to the next slide here, so we can move forward. There are few traditional specific things for Indigenous people across Canada. So what we're trying to do is that we focus on the empowerment and support to advocate and to help people share their lived experiences. And what we've done was we're using the 7 grandfather teachings. And it is important, there's 7 of them. And then one of the things we will do is as we go through this process with the 7 grandfathers, is we're going to give you the opportunity to write down one thing in the chat box about what you think of joy, what do you think of love, what do you think of respect. Again, this is one of the processes that we do in order to create a safe bundle or container for people to do their work. This can be done individually or it can be done in the group setting. Then we'll look at how we can use this towards harm reduction, how the healthcare workers could use it, and how you can use it as an individual. And that all the participants, what we ask for, are you prepared to do what you need to do to get what you came here for? Jack is going to say something briefly about this as well.
So we use the 7 directions or the 7 grandfather teachings to help everybody drop into their authentic self and build the strength of the container so people aren't just floating all over the place and in that general mode. We want people to hit that sacred space inside of themselves and collectively with the group, so that each person's talking authentically about themselves and their journey and their health and wellness as can be. So the medicine wheel holistic healing map, the direction of the north is a gateway to I say and the spiritual. The east, the direction of the east is the gateway to our emotions, of what I feel. The direction of the south, the physical, the warrior, is the gateway to I do, the things I do. And then the mental is the west. It's the gateway to my thoughts, and this is what I think. So when we go into each one of these, and again, I want to stress what we're doing is we're using this because I'm sure you can relate to part of me feels like this and part of me feels like that. And what we're trying to do is to help people separate out what are their feelings, what are their thoughts. So that's why we've had this map is broken down into such finite sections. So the north is where we can get enmeshed with our ideals, but it's the doorway to the archetypal energy and community and leadership. It's where our wisdom or our shame comes up from, joy and or weakness. We have less than and more than in each one of these.
In the emotional part, we mesh with the emotions. This is with the infant, the lost child, new beginnings, teamwork, lover, feelings, belonging, grief, and partnership. And as we look at these things, we kind of have an idea of about where the individual is, where they're coming from, where they're going to, are they lost? Do they have, are they enmeshed with all these feelings that they don't understand? And then they don't know if they're deflated, they're inflated, they're always in a grief response mode, no matter what it may be. It's like they're always grieving. So we look at what's going on with the individual and how it works around the map, especially with the emotional, because we have to understand, are they enmeshed with all these thoughts and emotions, or that as that lost child?
Okay, so now we move down into the direction of the south, the physical. And this is the direction and the gateway. We can become enmeshed with others. This is the place of the youth, where we're looking for our independence, right? This is where you'll see in that youth that their starting off point with their, it's either they're either in their warrior or they're in their victim. They're either going to have success or they're just going to be angry, and the rebel's going to show up. But what we do is we use the wheel, these teachings, to help people identify to what mode then they're in, and we're trying to help them get to the point of balance in each one of these.
In the middle is, this is where all the thoughts are at. This is where the sovereign's at. This is where the magicians is at. This is where the adult is at. The manipulator. This is the place where people detach. The word about the families, the thoughts about the goals. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Do I want to go on medication? Do I not want to go on a medication? When's the time to start? There's a lot of fear. And then what people tend to do is at this place is this where they act like the clown comes out in them. And then what we have to make sure that with all this here, within the medicine wheel concept, is that everything goes around. So as it goes around the circle, as you know, that each part and each quadrant has a different color. And why? And this is only a tool, because if I'm not balanced in mental, I am messed with a lot of thoughts and emotions.
Okay, so the seven grandfather teachings. Wisdom. Donnie asked each person to write something down with each heading. So this is where you can do it. So we have, to us, wisdom is to cherish knowledge, is to know wisdom. Wisdom is given by the Creator to be used for the good of people. To have wisdom is to know the difference between good and bad, and to know the result of our actions. In the Anishinaabe language, this word expresses not only wisdom, but also means prudence or intelligence. In addition to wisdom, this word can also mean intelligence or knowledge.
Then we look at, so at this point, what I'd like to do is, if the participants or everybody on here, say in the chat room, write down one thing about what is wisdom to you. Thank you. So what we're going to like to do now, before we go on with the love, a good understanding about What is love to you? Because I'll give you the words and then you just write down what love means. Thank you. Love. To know love is to know peace.
Love must be unconditional. When people are weak, they need love the most. Our love is to be given freely. You cannot put conditions on it, or your love is not true. Respect. To honor all of creation is to have respect. All of creation should be treated with respect. You must give respect in all your affairs if you wish to be respected. So bravery is to face a foe or an opponent or an opposite thought or opinion, is to face that with integrity. In the Anishinaabe language, this word literally means state of having a fearless heart. Bravery gives us the ability to do what is right, even when some of the consequences may be unpleasant. Honesty.
Honesty is facing a situation to be brave. Always be honest in word and action. Be honest first with yourself, and you'll easily be able to be honest with others. In the Anishinaabe language, this word can also mean righteousness, honesty, humility.
Humility is to know yourself as the sacred part of all creation. In the Anishinaabe language, this word can also mean compassion, calmness, meekness, gentility, or patience. Humility means you are equal to others. You are not better. You are not less than. Humility allows ourselves and to recognize that no matter how much I think I know very little of the entire universe.
Truth. So this one here, again, everybody write down truth to them. Truth is to know all these things and live them. Speak the truth. Do not deceive yourself or others. Truth. Thank you. The exercise that you just did was we as a group have actually built a container. This is the bundle, this is the medicine. And if Valerie can talk to her briefly, Elder Valerie is about the 7 teachings that everything that everybody put on here is right. And it's where it's at. Elder Valerie?
Thank you, Donald and Jack, for these wonderful teachings. And to acknowledge that, oh, okay, sorry, start my video. Thank you. I love the messages that we get. You're amazing. To know that what Don teaches may be a little bit different from what that I teach, and that what someone else may teach in our Indigenous ways, but to honor those teachings that even though they're different, they're very similar, and to take it into your spirit and to acknowledge what your ancestors have taught you and your culture, but to honor all the words that are being taught today, because as we put all this together, it becomes one big woven blanket that is wrapping us all in these beautiful teachings. And to know that the Musqueam word, Nasamat, which means we are all one people, and we are. So I just like to acknowledge this blanket that has been wrapped around all of us, that has brought us in as we carry this sacred bundle as we go forward in the work that we're doing. I honor your teachings. Thank you. All my relations. Wheelan.
Hi.
Oh,
So this is what we usually do once we get to a group or to an organization, First Nations, non-First Nations, on-res, off-res. And what we do is we try to get everybody to have a common language. And we give them the opportunity to say what love is, to say what one of the grandfathers are, and how it applies to them, where they're at. And it's where they're at on their journey, and none of it's wrong. And then once this is done, that is the container. This tightens us up. So when we do a process or start doing some work, we kind of look at now, where are they on the medicine wheel? This is the wheel within the wheel. There are 9 different lodges that are in the medicine wheel. It's the Children's Lodge, Men's Lodge, Peacekeepers Lodge, Warriors Lodge, Singers and Mediums, Women's Lodge, Council Lodge, Hunters and Gatherers, and Dog Soldiers. If you can look at the map, this is a map that lays over a map that lays over a map. It's only a tool. If you look at where your age, I don't want to know it, but if you look at your age, and that's going to tell you where you sit or where you're at on the wheel within the wheel. And as a frontline worker, healthcare professional, a researcher, see where you're at and how that applies to you. And then as we go through this, you're going to see what actually is a dog soldier. So, and how does this apply to my emotions, how I feel, what's going on, what do I think? Because this is a really good piece that we can take away from here. You know, oh, wow, I'm in Hunter's Lodge. No wonder I'm going out there trying to get all kinds of information. Or I'm in the Singer's Lodge where you're sitting in your garden singing tunes, or you're in a group playing music. You're in the Storyteller's Lodge. So what I'm going to do is give you a brief, just a couple of minutes to figure out where you're at, and then we can go through the slides.
you'll see on this map that each lodge is incrementally 3 years. There's one in the middle, you move out to the men's lodge, then you work clockwise around that circle. And then once you hit the dog soldier, you move back into the middle, the children's fire, and then back out. So this 3-year period, per se, where you're in each one of these lodges, you could see how like a year and a half of that is about getting familiar with these new discoveries about who you are and life and your perceptions of them. And then you got like a year and a half to kind of perfect them a little bit and work with them before you move into the next lodge. So for the analytical people, the writing's kind of hard to read. I want everybody to know they're using a 3-year cycle, okay?
The container, the bundle is a circle in which safe processes can be done. This is what we're doing when we first talked about the grandfathers. And then today, we were divided into 3 groups. We're going to be divided into 3 groups. And then at each group, we're going to have the same discussion. And then we'll follow back to what directions. We will first take the time to discuss what is a container, what is a bundle, and in the group norms. And so this is basically, you're setting everything up. Everybody can work. And then we can execute some kind of active plan for each, because they can be tailored to individuals. So whatever's up for you at that time, you can actually work on it. If you have a problem with a coworker, or a peer, or an academic. So what you want to do is be able to have a really clear language, because you know what area you're in within the medicine wheel, and then it keeps going. So this is where I'm saying the wheel is within the wheel within the wheel.
What's a container in a bundle? It's a safe space for sharing. It means that outside pressures are temporarily set aside. So some of the norms, we refrain from advice giving, collectively agree to watch, listen, and learn from different people's journeys. Feeling the depth and power of love in a truly safe container bundle is an inspiring experience that invokes a feeling of safeness and is helping people get to their authentic self. So other warrior brothers and sisters can help you break the job down into manageable parts so you don't lose your perspective. This is where part of me feels like that, and another part of me feels like this. And in this bundle, when you're in there and when you're doing your personal work, you might also want some protection while you're vulnerable, touching your shadows. So to start your new growth in an environment free of judgment, peer pressure, criticism, and there are no consequences. We're doing this work ritually, right? So that you get to work on an issue, figure things out, sort of try it on for size, right? And see how it feels and how it works for you without any real consequences, rather than doing this work real and live, right? I mean, these are things you don't necessarily want to be blurting out to all people everywhere all the time. So that's why we do this work in a container. We help each person hit their safe space and become their authentic self. And we learn from watching how others process their issues, seeing others find courage hidden within their fear, or seeing someone reclaiming the power in their anger. You may be able to apply that learning to your own situation.
Well, I'm glad you said one thing, Jack, is like this once we step into doing this kind of work, we are in ceremony and we're a ritual space. Love to have elders there all the time. Love to have grandmothers there for support, both male and female, because we don't know the crowd we have. And so this is why we really depend on the community elders or knowledge keepers to participate in this. It's important and it's valuable, and that person's able to grow. So their journey, so they're not lost into this world we live in today, but they're able to fight and go forward, having the support with elders like Elder Valerie and then Elder John and some of the other ones that I've known that be able to help that person, because like what Val was saying, different people, different tribes and clans and territories, we all have different processes and teachings. And this is where we honor each teachings across Turtle Island and bring it all together.
Because really, we are all talking about the same things. We just sort of have our where we grew up is going to give us a nuanced perception of a certain thing. But if we're given a chance to actually speak, hear, and listen to each other, we can see that we're all talking about the same thing.
These are the norms for myself. Is what I've always, when I go see my HIV doctor, is that I have rules and norms that I've learned from this bundle or creating a bundle or the container. It's where my physical safety, a confidentiality, temporary. If I'm talking, I'm able to have that choice to pass, or I can get right into the dialogue. And I always talk about myself. I make I statements. and I do like the me signals. I definitely show my HIV specialist respect. So I'm able to be open and honest, and I can talk about how Dawn feels. So I'm talking in third person here. But the idea is to be able to I feel safe with her because I learned how to create my own bundle. So when I go to these places, I am protected, I'm safe. Um, I give permission and anything else, Jack.
So again, you'll see we refrain from advice giving, right? Or consciously and unconsciously in our conversation, we can inadvertently shame people. So we really want to make sure when we're doing this work in a circle that we're not sending out shaming and judgmental messages where we're unconsciously imposing our values on someone else. This is all about each person being able to hit their truth, their reality, what it means for them without any fear of being judged. We use this to do conflict resolution. Again, by doing work in a circle, we're able to learn from each other's experience. We're listening to people share about their joy or their pain. And it's like, yeah, I went through that, or I had that. That's where we would use that Me Too signal to build some confidence in the circle without interrupting that individual.
Well, thank you, Jack. And one of the other things that Jack was saying earlier is about shadow. We work with a lot of people's, look at them, we work with a lot of people's shadows. And
we're working with the definition of shadow being a shadow is parts of myself I hide, repress, or deny to even me, right? So I may not know, well, I don't know what all my shadows are, right? This work is a way to start to see your shadows.
Thank you so much, Jack and Donnie.
What you have to share with us. Thanks.